Rimuru and Ultima goes to One Piece, Rimuru and Ultima x One Piece, by Veldanava-God. Chapter 38. The spoils of war. The grand hall of the royal castle on Veldoria Island was filled with the echo of footsteps as soldiers and attendants moved about, performing their duties. At the far end of the hall, in the shadow of magnificent pillars, sit two large thrones. Upon them were the two most powerful figures in the New World. Rimuru Tempest and Ultima Tempest, captains of the Tempest Pirates. The room had an air of regal authority, but tension still buzzed from the aftermath of their battle with the Big Mom Pirates. Rimuru reclined back on his throne, his golden eyes gleaming with satisfaction. Beside him, Ultima sat tall, her violet hair cascading down her shoulders as she leaned forward slightly, reading a report brought in by one of their officers. Standing before they were their trusted generals, Sylphira Nightfang, Kalis Drakenshade, and Tessa Horizon, each prepared to deliver their final reports on the epic battle. The air was still charged with victory, but there was an unmistakable intensity as they prepared to review the finer details of what had happened. Sylphira was the first to speak, her white hair glowing in the soft light of the throne room. The main force of Big Mom's army has withdrawn. The survivors made it back to Toto Land, but they won't be causing any trouble anytime soon, she said with a confident smirk. Her feline-like eyes gleamed with pride. Kalis, the silent but formidable general, nodded in agreement. His black armor gleamed under the light as he spoke. The defenses held strong, though we lost a few soldiers to the cannons. Overall, the island's fortifications remained intact. Tessa, ever precise, stepped forward with her report. Her movements were smooth and silent, befitting the leader of their stealth division. My assassins did well, no major casualties on our end. The enemy wasn't prepared for our surprise attacks, though we'll need to reinforce our observation points for future encounters. I'd say the battle couldn't have gone smoother. Rimuru nodded, looking pleased. Good work, all of you. Veldoria Island remains ours, and Big Mom's empire is officially fractured. The new world is ours to shape. Before anyone could respond, a loud squawk echoed through the grand hall. A gaivoda, the ever-present newsbird of the seas, swooped down through one of the open windows, holding a freshly printed newspaper in its beak. It landed gracefully in front of Ultima, dropping the paper at her feet. Well, Ultima mused, leaning down to pick up the newspaper. Let's see what the world is saying about our little victory. She unfolded the paper, her golden eyes quickly scanned the headlines. Rimuru leaned in, curious. Anything interesting? Ultima's grin widened. Oh, you're going to love this. She tossed the paper to Rimuru, who caught it midair. It's official news now. The world knows Big Mom's been defeated. By us. Rimuru's eyes quickly scanned the front page, his expression darkening with pride as he read the bold headline. Big Mom Pirates defeated. Tempest Pirates rise to power. The story went into detail, outlining the destruction of Big Mom's fleet and the rise of Rimuru and Ultima as the new dominant force in the New World. But what really caught his attention was the bundle of papers that fell from the newspaper. Bounty posters. Rimuru's eyebrows shot up in surprise. Bounties, huh? They didn't waste any time. Ultima chuckled, clearly enjoying herself. Let's see who's worth the most, shall we? Rimuru began flipping through the bounties, reading each one aloud. Tessa Horizon. 1.108.000.000 berries. Tessa's eyes widened slightly, though she kept her cool composure. A faint smile played on her lips. Not bad, she said quietly. Looks like I've made a name for myself. Kalis Drakenshade. 1.390.000.000 berries, Rimuru continued. Kalis nodded, his face expressionless as ever. Fair enough, he muttered, crossing his arms. Though I'm surprised it's that high. Sylphira snorted, crossing her arms with a smirk. Just wait, she said, clearly anticipating her own bounty. Rimuru flipped to the next poster and read it aloud, his voice tinged with amusement. Sylphira Nightfang. 1.500.000.000 berries. Sylphira's grin grew wider, her fangs glinting in the light. She turned to Kalis, her eyes gleaming with mischief. Still the highest among the generals, Kalis. Guess you're just going to have to try harder. Kalis rolled his eyes, unfazed by her taunting. It's not a competition. Sylphira chuckled. Says the one who's losing. Tessa shook her head with a faint smile, watching the exchange between the two. It's impressive, Sylphira, she said. But I'm not about to start a rivalry over numbers. Sylphira shrugged. You two can pretend it doesn't matter, but we all know who's really the strongest. Ultima, who had been watching with amusement, finally interrupted. Oh, come on now, Sylphira. You might have the highest bounty among the generals, but let's not forget who's actually on top. Rimuru shot her a curious glance, sensing what was coming. Wait, what do you mean? Ultima leaned over and grabbed the last two bounty posters. She flipped one around and revealed Rimuru's face plastered on it, with an impressive bounty of 4.400.000.000 berries printed below. Rimuru Tempest, Ultima said dramatically. Your bounty is now 4.400.000.000 berries. Rimuru grinned, clearly pleased. Well, I'd say that's a nice number. But then, with a playful smirk, Ultima flipped her own poster around. And mine is 4.500.000.000 berries. Sylphira let out a loud laugh, clapping her hands together. You got beat, Rimuru, she said, her voice full of amusement. Ultima's still got the higher bounty. Tessa smiled, though she remained quiet, while Kalis raised an eyebrow, finding the whole thing mildly amusing. Rimuru's eyes narrowed as he looked at Ultima's poster. Really? You beat me by 100 million? Ultima shrugged, her grin wide. What can I say? Guess the world finds me more dangerous. I don't think that's how it works, Rimuru muttered, though there was a hint of playful annoyance in his tone. Sylphira continued to laugh, clearly enjoying the moment. You've been outdone by your own wife, Rimuru. How does that feel? Rimuru sighed, leaning back in his throne. Well, I'm not going to let it get to me, this time. Ultima chuckled, leaning over and giving him a light nudge with her elbow. You'll catch up, don't worry. Rimuru smirked, shaking his head. I guess I'll just have to make a bigger scene next time. The room fell into comfortable laughter, the tensions of the previous battle fading into the background as the crew enjoyed their moment of triumph. Despite the teasing and competition, there was an underlying sense of unity among them. They had defeated one of the most powerful pirate crews in the world, and now their names were known across the seas. Kalis, who had been silent through most of the banter, finally spoke up. So what's next, then? Now that the world knows we've taken down Big Mom, others will surely come after us. Ultima's grin faded into a more serious expression as she considered his words. We'll need to solidify our defenses. The others' Yonkers territories are in chaos now that Big Mom's gone, and other crews will want a piece of what we've claimed. Rimuru nodded, his eyes thoughtful. We'll send out scouts to keep an eye on Toto Land and see how Big Mom's former territories are adjusting. We can't afford to let any opportunists slip in. Sylphira grinned, her bloodthirsty side returning. I say let them come. We've already proven we're stronger. Anyone who challenges us will meet the same fate as Big Mom. Tessa, ever the strategist, spoke up. While that may be true, we should be cautious. Our victory against Big Mom was significant, but we don't want to stretch ourselves too thin. Rimuru nodded in agreement. Exactly. We'll play this smart. No unnecessary risks. Ultima stood, her presence commanding as she addressed the group. For now, we celebrate. This victory is only the beginning, and with our bounties rising, the world knows we're a force to be reckoned with. But there's more work to be done. The seas are wide, and there's plenty left to conquer. The generals nodded in unison, each of them feeling the weight of their new responsibilities. They had claimed victory against one of the most powerful forces in the New World, but as always, there was more to be done. The world will continue to test them, but for now, they basked in the glow of their hard-earned triumph. Rimuru stood as well, his eyes glowing with determination. We've taken down 2 Yonkers. Now, let's see how far we can go.